Hey guys, most of this video was set to go live before PlayOverwatch tweeted out a Hero 28 teaser, so we're going to add this to the start and then get to the rest of the news after this. The PlayOverwatch Twitter says, "Calm before the storm," showing a wall with a bunch of different posters that are going to give us clues to what they're looking at. And is that a monkey? I'm pretty sure that's a monkey. There's a poster for Horizon Lunar Colony. Above it, it says, "Building our future in space." Some graffiti that says, "No bots." A football or soccer ball next to a safe, which appears to have some other papers or something on top of it. I think we can pretty confidently say that this is King's Row. It looks like King's Row. It's the one place that we know in the lore is not a big fan of Omnix. So perhaps there's more clues on the King's Row map. We knew that Hero 28 was coming down the pipeline. I'm certain that this is a big clue. And judging by the past 2 years of how heroes have been coming out, we're likely to see the new hero in July. They always do these little teaser hype pieces in order to clue us into who the next hero is going to be. The last one with Brigida was really on the nose. This one has confused me a little bit. Either it is definitely Hammond, or they're trying to misdirect us entirely. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, on to the rest of the news video. What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. Still a little sick, bear with me. Big news roundup, and we're starting it off with Sombra changes that are coming fairly soon. Jeff Kaplan says that we have changes going in for Sombra for our July patch. Most likely, the changes will show up on the PTR sometime next week or soon after that. They are pretty significant. I'm not going to detail the changes for now, as they're still in flux, but playtesting has gone well and we're eager to improve her. Now, if we decode his language a little bit here, he says that Sombra, with whatever changes they put in, will go live in July and onto the PTR next week, which also kind of pseudo-confirms that I think Symmetra is going to be coming out next Tuesday. And then at some point thereafter, either that day or perhaps up to Thursday, we'll get a PTR patch with this Sombra change, as well as anything else they have planned for July. You have to let me know what you think they could change in the comment section down below. My thoughts would be that they would change something with the speed and reliability of what she does. So like if Translocator flew through the air faster, or a bigger speed increase when invisible, maybe extending Hack's duration, upping EMP's charge rate. There's a lot of small things you could do that I think would help push her into a better place. You don't want to see her have more damage necessarily, but I wonder if that mid-fight hack that they overbuffed and then nerfed could work better in the Brigida meta with more CC in the game, which is kind of an interesting thought. What would happen if they were to reinstate how quickly you could mid-fight hack? Would that be enough? I don't know. It's kind of tricky because we're talking about comparing to insta-kill DPS that are running the meta right now. Buffing Sombra is an interesting call. However, I'm not exactly sure this is the route that we want to go down, because really we're at a point in the game now where once upon a time mobility ran everything. Remember that? Well, now it's kind of the other way where ranged burst damage runs everything, especially coming from characters like Hanzo and Widowmaker. It's going to be pretty tough in order to try to buff damage characters to reach the potential power level of these ranged one-shot kill machines. So I'm interested to see where they're going with it, because prior to this meta, Sombra was in a decent niche counterpick state, which I think is always a pretty healthy place for her to be, but of course against armor, she's not very good, and the whole flanky controlling playstyle seems really gimmicky up against the sheer firepower of controlling the same map with insta-kill arrows and having an ultimate that just pierces through everything in the world with damage amp damaging through Transcendence. Yeah, you can EMP a Transcendence in order to deny it from coming out, but Hanzo's Dragon is just better because you could damage amp through it while draining the support ult. Really tough to compete with the power level of Hanzo right now. Excited to see what they have in the works for that. And while we're going down this road, further discussion about balance. San Francisco Shock Tracer Flex DPS player Dante asks on Twitter, why does Pulse Bomb do the same amount of damage as a Widow headshot? And Mangachu replies, I hope this is more of a complaint about Widow than it is about Tracer. Which is interesting because some top tier pro players find that these bursty sniper characters are just too strong right now. However, I'm going to say I don't think you want to be toning down the damage of these characters anytime soon, because then the tanky comps will just completely take over like they did in the quad tank meta way back in the day with Ana. If anything, we should be going the other route and trying to either reduce the tankiness in general so that more damage characters can be played, or slowly buff the other damage characters. I kind of like option number one, but overall, in either case, despite Pulse Bomb with Discord being able to one-shot a Diva Mech. I feel like we're all missing the Dragon Strike in the room right now. Pulse Bomb was harder to hit than Dragon Strike is, in my opinion, and has far less reward for it now. On top of the fact that with Brigitte in the game, adding extra armor all the time to everybody, it just makes Pulse Bomb worse. And that's kind of why you need the extra oomph of something kind of like Dragon Strike, because if your ultimate doesn't have that amount of punching power, you ain't killing anything with it anyway. Anyway, moving on to more news. Everybody's favorite season, Season 10, will be ending on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Season 11 will start 3 days later on Saturday, June 30th, 5 p.m. Pacific yet again. That means you have less than a week to try to earn your next rank to get more competitive points for those gold guns. Remember, they did change the values you get for these back in the day since the seasons are a little bit shorter. And also have you remember that one day we might get more things to unlock with these competitive points, so it might not be a terrible idea to try to stockpile them a little bit rather than just blowing them all on gold guns that you're not going to want. Moving on to our next story. I saw this on Michael's channel first. I've seen it elsewhere as well. I assume it's something that was on Reddit. Top 500 Genji god Necros has been getting in some hot water due to some questionable play. You see, Necros plays on a really high sensitivity and pulls off some amazing feats with it, quickly changing from target to target, kind of like how Who Are You does, who's one of the best Genjis in the world. But one clip in particular got shared that strains credulity, let's say, is a little hard to explain. You see, this Pharah just got rezzed, concussion blasts behind him, yet in the matter of a few frames, he's able to flick basically perfectly onto the center of her body. A lot of people are saying this looks like an aim lock toggle, but I want everyone to take a deep breath, put our pitchforks down, because witch hunts are always bad. This definitely does look like it could be a hack, but it also could just be lucky as well. That's the problem. I see a lot of people just outright saying this guy's a hacker just because of this one clip, when really a lot of really high-level players look like they're hacking in isolated clips if you don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And after looking at this really carefully, I'm not sure I believe that the crosshair was perfectly on the Pharah's hitbox, because the way she's shifting her weight, it actually to me looks like it's a little bit off-center, which I don't think an aim lock would do. But maybe I just don't know how aim locks work. Maybe it doesn't aim perfectly for you, or I'm inaccurate in saying this, but I think a lot of people are trying to make calls about hacking without really knowing much about hacking, just like me. And I'm just going to say, I think we should wait to see what Blizzard says before we outright just call somebody a cheater. Definitely a questionable clip, but allow me to remind you that questionable play like this was brought up against Taimu, Geguri, lots of other players that play in a very flick-happy style, and at least for me, I just want to see more evidence or have Blizzard look at it. Anyway, moving on, are you still saying Brigitte wrong? I probably still am right now. Matilda Smedius, if I'm saying that right, probably saying that wrong too, is the voice actor for Brigitte, tries her best to teach us how to say.
So what I'm hearing is like you're saying Brigitte, like brig eat but if you want to say it like 100% correctly, my tip is Brigitte works fine, but my tip is that you say brig and then it instead of eat, and then te, like in test, Brigitte.
In any case, thanks a lot, Matilda. How nice of her. Isn't she a stunning lady? Do you get it? Do you get the joke? Moving on to some Overwatch League news, betting website Unicorn reported on a few important changes that are going to be happening to the Overwatch League and contenders, which fixes a lot of issues, and we'll get into that. There now will be a league minimum of 8 players on an Overwatch League roster, whereas it used to be 6. This makes sense if any org decides to make the really bad decision of not having any backups at all. This helps us have a little bit better competition overall. But possibly the most interesting thing is that players are allowed to set a player to go 2 ways, to both be on the roster for the Overwatch League locked in place, but where they sort of were trapped in limbo, where they couldn't get playtime on the stage because they needed to develop as a player, but also couldn't play in like contenders. Now you can designate those players as 2-way players, which allows them to go down into the contenders bracket and grind their skills there rather than sit up in OWL as a backup with nothing to do. Especially any player that you're a fan of that is struggling to fit in the current meta or is trying to improve in order to be a starter. This is really good for them because if you are a fan of them playing and you want to see what they can do, they'll be able to display that in contenders while they work their way up. Well, guys, that's going to be everything for today's news roundup video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. And if you haven't already, please subscribe because we upload each and every day. So you go ahead to the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Link in the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.